What is happening to Helldivers 2? I mean, for the past few weeks now, we've seen a constant drop in players in Helldivers 2. We've seen less and less interest about Helldivers 2 on the internet. More games are coming out that people are beginning to play, and it just seems that the passion and love that was with Helldivers 2 in the beginning seems to have just disappeared. So I have to ask the question, is Helldivers 2 dying? For the short answer, Helldivers 2 I don't believe is dying, and I don't believe is dead. I believe Helldivers 2 is just going through a little bit of a rough patch. They had to deal with Sony being stupid, forcing the login, which caused a lot of countries to not be able to play Helldivers 2 on PC. Since then, Sony has taken it away, and some countries have gained back access to Helldivers. But it's been such a stain in players' mouth that I know quite a few people that literally do not play Helldivers because they are upset with Sony. And I feel that Sony needs to do a lot more damage control than just saying we apologize. They need to get a hold of this, because this is their number one selling game in a very long time, and they pretty much almost killed it. Another reason why I think Helldivers 2 is also going through a little bit of a rough patch, and as a person as me, if you check out my YouTube videos, I got 60 plus episodes of Helldivers. You know I play the game a lot. Helldivers is going through with a little bit of a problem that I think the developers are trying too hard to make every weapon that they create a good weapon, instead of just sometimes you just have S tier weapons. Sometimes you're gonna have S tier, sometimes you're gonna have B tier, C tier, all that the weapons. It's just, I feel like Helldivers 2 has the devs have spent more time nerfing weapons instead of making the experience of the game better. Because it seems like every time I see an update of Helldivers 2, it just seems like this gun has gotten weaker, this gun has gotten weaker, this gun has gotten weaker, this gun has gotten better, but it's can only be used in one scenario, or this stratagem has gotten weaker, while this stratagem that can only be used in a certain scenario has gotten really strong. I think the devs need to chill out on just nerfing the weapons. I mean, the game has been out now for over 3 months. It's about to go on its 4th month soon. And I think they need to be focusing more on adding more true content to the game, because the game's been out for about a third of the year now, and we still are using pretty much the same few things. They added a few, stratagems here and there, but I think it's time for them to add more of, maybe a 6-player Helldiver mode, or an 8-player Helldiver mode, or add a new faction of enemies. I know that will come soon because of Helldivers 1. There was the Illuminate, and I know that they're coming, but I feel like they need to do a better job of hyping them up. If you're not a Helldiver, a hardcore player or a hardcore fan, you wouldn't even notice the signs. I think they need to do a better job of hyping up the next faction, so it'll make people want to get involved. Like, good example, one of the things of back in the day of Fortnite used to do a very good job of hyping up the next season of Fortnite by adding new things, showing like it was like an actual storyline. Helldivers has its own meta and storyline, and I think they're not doing a good job of using that meta and storyline to go with hyping up the next things. Like, in my opinion, one of the things that they should add in this game is boss fights. The fact that there hasn't been a boss fight added to this game yet kind of is a little disappointing. I really think there should be giant, like I've one of the lores of Helldivers is that the Bile Titans are like the babies they're the babies of compared to what they are on their home planet. Why don't you add one of those massive Bile Titans that the entire mission is just fighting that Bile Titan, that massive Bile Titan, or you call it a Bile Colossus? It's the same thing on the other side. Add just one massive automaton that we're just fighting. I think that will be very interesting. You can make it where it's like an 8-player mode or a 6-player mode, or you can. It doesn't have to even be that. It could be just 4 people, 4 Helldivers land on the planet, and another 4 set of Helldivers land on that planet at the same time, and we fight this massive boss. I think that will add a lot more fun to the game. Another thing that I also have a problem with Helldivers. I mean, I won't really say I have a problem, but a lot of players have also talked about is the amount of weapons that should be good for something and they're just useless. Remember I was saying about how Helldivers has been nerfing a lot of weapons, and I feel like they're doing too much of a top-down approach. They saw the best weapons and said, let's nerf them and make them pretty much almost useless. And I think that is a terrible mistake they should not have done. What they should have done is see what were the top weapons, and instead of making them weaker, just make it that it takes a little longer to charge. Like, for example, the railgun. The railgun was one of the best guns in the OG of, like, Helldivers, like, around the February, early March. Then they nerfed it. What they should have done is instead of nerfing the railgun, just make it a little bit, takes a little bit longer to charge, or get rid of one of the modes unless you master the gun. It's the same way with a couple of the the Gauss cannon, like the massive. I mean, not the Gauss cannon, the Quasar cannon, the cannon that they added for us to fight the Titans to make it easier for us to fight the Hulks of the automatons. But it seems now that it takes so long to charge, and it takes such a long time to recover from overheating, that it's pretty much people have just went back to the autocannon. Because it feels like the autocannon is literally the only gun, the only stratagem gun that has not been nerfed, has not been buffed, and has not been nerfed. It's just been stayed the same. So a lot of people are just going back to the autocannon because it's the only one they feel that they won't touch. Because every time when someone gets good with a gun, and it becomes, people find these crazy things to do with the gun that makes people go like, oh man, that's cool, let me go play this. They nerf it. And you don't do that. Like, don't do that. That is not rewarding your fan base. When a fan figures out something that's cool about your gun, don't nerf it. If it's broken, where it makes the game just too easy, I understand. But when you find cool tech, it feels like every time someone finds cool tech in the Helldivers community with a gun, they just get rid of it. And it is so frustrating that you're doing that to the fan base. If you're listening to this, any dev is listening to this video, please stop doing that. We deserve good and fun guns to play with. And figure out cool tech to use with. Cool tech with the stratagems. It feels like every time we find something cool, you guys get rid of it. And it's a little frustrating. I just feel like I don't think Helldivers 2 is dead. Helldivers 2 is not dead, and I don't think it is a dying game. It is losing a little popularity. It has lost a little bit of its fan base. I think Helldivers 2 dev team and the team around the game, along with Sony, needs to do a little bit better job of damage control. Bring back the fans to the game. Add a little bit more events. Make people more hype to play the game again. Make it a lot more fun. I know they added the new missions that was really, really good. But one of the things that I didn't like about the new defense mission is that one of the things that's so cheap about it is that those giant factory automatons, once they get to a certain level, they don't even have to get past a certain gate. They can just snipe the generators, which makes it impossible. I understand Helldive is the hardest difficulty, and it should be hard. I'm not complaining about the difficulty. As you can see, I play a lot of missions on Helldive, but there's a difference between hard and cheap, and that's just straight up cheap. That is cheap. It makes you not want to play the defense missions on the hardest difficulty because once they drop two or three of them things on you and you don't have the stratagem to defend it, and they just get past the first gate, it's over because they can just snipe the generators. Sometimes I don't think it's not about being hard. Sometimes don't be cheap. You know what I mean? Give us stuff. Give us more stuff to deal with those massive things. I know they've launched a new Titan. I mean a new suit that you can use, like a new pretty much like Gundam like suit to use. I haven't tried it yet, but I haven't seen anybody hype it up yet. So it's probably not as good as people thought. Because I remember when they first brought in the suit the first time, people were like so excited about it, and then we found out how useless it is because you're just a sitting duck and people can just take it out. So I just hope, I love this game. I love Helldivers. Play it so much. I just hope that Helldivers 2, the devs and Sony can pick back up to where it is because the summer's coming. There's going to be a lot more people who are going to have a little bit more money, have more time, free time to game and everything. And I think Sony and Arrowhead Studios there's money to be made. And I think they need to just figure out a formula to get their fan base back reinvigorated. So, I hope until then, Kenny Hoon out.